Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Camper Report. Today, we've got a guest that I've already had on. I believe it was last summer. I'm not exactly sure what month it was, but it was last summer. Lions Syndicate, Derrick from Lions Syndicate. Is it all right if I call you Derrick?
It is fine. We discussed that
You know
last
what's
time. It's fine.
okay? Yeah, I cannot believe I got your name wrong. I apologize for that. So
It's
by
all
the way,
right, man.
guys, I texted him on Twitter. I was like, "Hi there, Dion. Would you be open to doing a show?" And he's like, "My name's not Dion, it's Derrick." And I was like, "Oh God, that's embarrassing."
Well, I wasn't that. I
Um,
wasn't that harsh, man.
well, yeah, I knew you were joking, but I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing." But so we have Derrick from Lions Syndicate here. If you want to go check out his Twitter, or I guess X now, and then if you want to go check out his YouTube, both of them are in the links. How are you doing today? Excited to talk Lions and Niners football, because that's really what we're talking about today, and I'm sure a lot of Niners fans want to know about your team, so we're going to discuss a little bit about that. But if there's any other places that you want to promote, any other links that you want to promote, feel free. And yeah, how are you doing today?
I'm
Great to
doing
have you
okay,
on.
man. Thanks for having me. It was a blast last time, and my team has kind of matured since then. So thanks for having me on.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
need to promote anything. I'm just here to show some love and talk about one of these two teams going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's gonna be an exciting game, especially if Deebo Samuel does not play. We'll get into all of that in just a second. Grandizer is in here. Get your claws up, Lions fans. So, and then let's see, Derrick, how you feeling? What is your vibe? I guess he's asking on the Lions.
Man, I'm feeling good and nervous at the same time because the 49ers have been one of those teams that I have wanted my team to be molded around. You guys' defense flying all over the place. You got a guy that I wanted at the trade deadline, and I know he might have not done much, but he's more than what we have. But Fred Warner, I mean, the studs on the defensive line, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, which is a cheat code. You know what I mean? So that defense that you guys have had for the longest time, and then we got an ex-49er on our team that unfortunately can't play in this game, Emmanuel Mosley,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
and I know he's gonna be bummed and sick about it, but I, I'm nervous, but at the same time, I feel like you guys are beatable. I saw some things against the Green Bay Packers, and even
Yeah.
when y'all went on that skid, man, that 3-game skid, I'm like, these guys are beatable, but it really depends on which team we're gonna get and what team we're going to be. So if this was at home, bro, I would feel way better. But I'm a little nervous, man. But I will be in attendance, thankfully, to cheer my team on. So outside of that, I think it's
Really?
gonna be I think it's gonna be a really great matchup. And the 1 seed against the 3 seed, man. I mean, it couldn't really get any better than this. But I'm nervous overall, but excited at the same time.
Yeah, me too. We'll get into all of it in just a second, guys. If you haven't already, this is being streamed on X, but I would love it if you got. I don't usually want to push anyone to do anything, but I would love it if you guys are watching this on X, then maybe hop over to YouTube and give this video a like. Really helps out the channel. But let's get into the first topic. So you were talking about how you were a little bit afraid of this game, maybe a little bit nervous. I'm super nervous as well. We'll get into the Niners side of things in a few topics, but did you expect the Lions to be close with the Bucs? Should this have been more of a blowout, and did you leave that game with any concerns?
Well, we did lose an offensive lineman who will be out this game. He had some meniscus surgery, but it's a very, I guess, light surgery, if you can call it that. If we do win and go to the Super Bowl, he should be back to play. Frank Ragnour center goes down, but he came back in, was playing hurt. As far as the Bucs, I really didn't know what to expect because our defense has been very streaky, a bend but don't break. It bends a lot. But I knew the Bucs were going to give us everything we had, and I knew our problem is blocking. It's covering a receiver. So I knew Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, one of those guys would have a day. I expected the score to kind of be what it was near the end, but it was a lot closer than I would have hoped it to be. But I did expect to have us winning as long as we could, because we're pretty good against the run, and that's going to be tested against you guys. But we just had to stop the pass, and that's what we needed to do. We kind of didn't do that, but we did enough to win the game. And then Baker with the costly interception near the end. So it was closer than I thought, Ben, but better. I'm just glad we got the win.
Yeah, I mean, you guys also got pressure on Baker Mayfield. I see here, let's see here, 4 sacks. So
Yep.
that's good. And it's definitely a sight for fresh air, because I know that there have been some complaints, especially in last game against the Rams. I mean, late in that game, Aiden Hutchinson was clutch.
Yeah.
But I heard a lot of complaints on Twitter or X. Gosh, I keep kind of saying the wrong name. I forget that it's named different. But there was a lot of complaints on X. The Lions pass rush was dormant for a lot of that game. It looks like you guys got pressure a lot more. And I mean, the argument that the Buccaneers offensive line isn't great, but neither is the Niners offensive line. Aiden Hutchinson, I'll get into weaknesses later. But Aiden Hutchinson is going to feast on that right side of the offensive line, which is where he likes to line up at, as well as, your run game. So, I mean, if you can get pressure on Brock Purdy, that's what the Packers did early, or that whole game. They were basically doing a lot of 5-6 man fronts, disguising blitzes, bringing cornerbacks to pass rush or to blitz. And so if you guys can do that, get pressure on Brock Purdy, and then run the ball with the explosive running backs that you have, I don't see the Lions could honestly, you don't have a great defense, but you could keep the 49ers under 30 points just because Brock Purdy, isn't great under a lot of pressure. And it also really, really makes our offense one-dimensional. So I'm kind of going into another topic here, but it's definitely probably a breath of fresh air how you guys got pressure on Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, so I don't know if there's much of there's a gap between Brock Purdy and him, but it's definitely a breath of fresh air for you guys as well. So
yeah, I that's one of the things that have been we've been dealing with all season is pressure sacking the quarterback. Aiden was like number 2 or 3 in pressures, but getting the quarterback down was our primary weakness. And we didn't make a move at the trade deadline, and we have to send cornerbacks and safeties and all this other stuff. Now we are going to get James Houston back, I believe, which is a linebacker kind of third down specialist that we lost in the second game of the season. So I expect him to play this game. So that might help Hutch a ton, because outside of Hutch, man, we don't really have that anyone on the defensive line.
Yeah.
Seriously, we have to bring pressure off the secondary. And that's where my concern always comes in, because you've got Ayuk, you've got Samuel, who we don't know if he's going to play. He said he was, but we got McCaffrey, who can catch out of the backfield as well. And Jennings, I believe, that can't, he's kind of a sleeper dude that I see all the
clutch
time.
Last game.
Yeah, man. And I'm like, so you got some threats, but one thing the Lions have been able to do is it's really bad. We can let one receiver go off and still win games. So our thing is can we contain McCaffrey? And we're going to talk about that. But that's the thing, man. We need Aiden Hutchinson needs some help, and hopefully he gets it this Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. I want to ask you a few, because we're talking about concern. I want to ask you, what is your cornerback? Because I watch the Lions, but I'm not super. I look up PFF stats with the Niners, but I'm not, since it's early in the week, I'm not super in depth with it yet. What is Cameron Sutton? I believe it's Cameron Sutton. Is it your cornerback? What is he like? Because I've definitely heard. So, I mean, in that Rams game that I watched exclusively a lot of, and then last game, it's he tends to hold a little bit. He kind of reminds me of our cornerback, Ambry Thomas. We'll get into him later. What's he like, and can the 49ers maybe target him?
You know what? I like Cam up until late in the season. You didn't really hear his name a lot, and you still don't hear it. But I think it's safe to say that Cam Sutton is a number 2. I think he was sold a bit high from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers talked very highly about him. He's not a number 1 in my opinion. He's a solid, sturdy number 2, but he's been giving up a ton of plays, ton of big plays. And Mike Evans put on a clinic on him. Puka Nacua put on a clinic, and that is really the weakest part of our team. I thought it was the defensive line, but it is definitely the secondary. And that's the team. That's what Brad Holmes tried to really build on. and we draft Brian Branch. If you Melifanu has come alive, but Cam Sutton, man, he is a liability, bro, but he's better than anything else we have on the team, and that's saying a lot.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Is my audio not working? Hold on. This is not good. My bad. Hold on. I will be right back. I need to leave the stream and get back in because my audio is not working.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but yeah, this is going to be a good game. This is going to be a good game. And I think it's two powerhouses going at it. And I saw some things that the Niners could exploit, obviously. And I think the Lions getting to Brock Purdy is going to be the biggest deal.
This is
oh, got the Bluetooth? So Nathaniel in the comment section says Lions offense has been 6 or 7 in the
with
red
my
zone.
audio.
I can hear you.
I'm trying to think here.
Oh, he can't hear me. That's what it is. He can't hear us. Wow, the Lions O-line seems seen as weak. The secondary was always expected. No, I said D-line. The D-line, bro. Oh, Lions offense has been 6 or 7 in the red zone so far playoff. Got to keep it up. Yeah. Lions have 103 or 106 long passes, 16 yards, most in the league. The secondary has to not let that happen. But here's the thing, Nathaniel. When you have a weak defensive line, the secondary is going to get cooked, right? Unless you have a top-tier cornerback. You got a Jalen Ramsey. You have a, what's the dude name? Sauce Gardner. So if you don't have those guys, you have to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. And that's what the Lions don't have, and that's the problem. I think Grandizer, he can't hear us, as if I understand. He was using the earpod, so we'll just keep this. If you got any comments, just put
anything going on. I have no idea what is going on.
Okay, let me see. We can hear you.
I am so sorry, everyone. What is going on with my speakers?
And you.
I thought it was my AirPods, but I don't know if it is anymore. Because my.
Can you. What's up, Jesse? Says, Derrick, do you think the Lions safeties have taken a step back this year? Grandizer, the safeties, no, but the cornerbacks, yes. The cornerbacks, yes. And that could be a thing because you got to remember, man, we had Cam Sutton. Then we had Emmanuel Mosley. He was supposed to be 2. He goes down. Jerry Jacobs is 2. He gets benched. And now number 2 is Kendall Vildor, an undrafted free agent. So, yeah. Okay, so Ben can't hear me. Okay. Now we can't. No sound at all. No sound. You're muted. Oh, he's muted. He's muted on purpose. All right. So that's what I think. So I don't know if he wants to start this over or.
Hold on. Okay. My AirPods. Here, let me disconnect my AirPods.
Okay.
Disconnect. Well, that is unfortunate. I'm not going to maybe be able to use my mic because my AirPods are being a little annoying right now. So I'm going to have to go without. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I sincerely apologize. I heard you were reading some of the comments.
Yeah. Just trying to, stall until you got it together.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess my AirPods just puckered out. I don't know what it was, but where did you get up to in the comments as far as that goes? I'm not going to read them all, but
just all of them. I talked to them, all of them. So we all caught up.
And I see a few probably people over from your channel, Nathaniel Arias coming through, and then Win Southwell, Jesse DeVries. I know him. So thank you everyone for joining. If you haven't already, let's move on to the next topic. Let's see here. So kind of switching lanes a little bit. We'll get back to the Ravens and the Lions and the 49ers in a few topics, but The Ravens get a huge win versus the Texans. 34-10. It was tied at halftime. They let them, I believe they shut them out in the second half. This game was, I mean, the Ravens just looked purely dominant, which I expected them to. I really did expect them to. I knew that the Ravens would. I just knew that there was too much talent on that Ravens team, that there was no way the Texans were going to keep up with them. But what did you see from this game? Was it more on the Texans for getting blown out, or was the Ravens game plan just really that good? And are the Ravens really way better than the rest of the teams remaining? Because it's starting to feel like that, and I'm a little afraid to face them if we do have to next week or 2 weeks from now.
Well, you know what, man? I think that it's a little bit of both, but I think the Ravens are, I hate to say it because I'm not a huge fan of Lamar Jackson, but he's been playing well this year. But they are a team that their defense is smothering. And I thought your defense was scary, but their defense is top tier, man. And I think that it's a little bit of both. You had a rookie quarterback who came in and was flying high and then got humbled real quick. Not to say that he needed that, but I think that the Ravens are real. And I think they're going to be whoever they face. I think, to tell you the truth, that the Chiefs are our only hope. That's how I feel, because they blew out the Lions and we weren't at full strength, but we were just out of it. We were out of it, man. The one thing that people miss about that game, or that gets hidden or smothered, is because Jahmyr Gibbs got his first touchdown in that game, and it was our only points. But it came in a blowout. The score was already 35-0, and it was just a bad showing. So I think, man, it's a little bit of both, but I think it's 80% Ravens are for real. And I think the Chiefs, man, are our only hope. You can never count out Patrick Mahomes. And I actually got the Chiefs upsetting the Ravens. I really do. But the Ravens are real. But because the playoffs, man, is one and done, all you got to be is caught on a bad day, and then you're going home. So I think they're for real, but I think the Chiefs get the best of them this weekend.
Yeah, the scary thing about them is Lamar Jackson didn't even throw the ball that much, 16 for 22.
Yeah.
And their offense is just super physical, and they can beat you both ways.
Yep.
The other thing is, like, they have this perfect balance because they have, like, the youth with Zay Flowers, and Gus Edwards is pretty young. And then they have the veteran experience like Odell Beckham, who's been in a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, was a huge part of that Rams Super Bowl team. So they kind of have both sides of the coin, I guess you would call it, the youth and the experience. And it's just with the defense, it's like they have such a like, what's their defensive coordinator's name? Is it McDonald?
I have no idea.
I believe I'd have to look that up. But the way they do, like, their defense blitzes a lot. But since they have so many talented players in the second level, the way they've constructed and drafted, that's the big thing about teams that make Super Bowl runs, is they draft well and they construct their team really well. And I mean, the last few drafts with Patrick Queen, with Kyle Hamilton, they have guys that can just fly around all over the defensive level, and it's really, really, really hard to stop. And so when they're blitzing, you really don't know where they're going to blitz from.
Yeah.
You don't know. They have decent amount of talent, or quite a lot of talent on their edge. So you don't know what's gonna where they're going to blitz from, if they're gonna pull all their guys back and just get home with four. So it's like that's a scary thing, and that's why, like you said, not a lot of offenses. I think the one offense is obviously Patrick Mahomes, who has that experience. But I mean, if you're telling me that Jared Goff or Brock Purdy, guys that aren't very mobile, is going to, we've already seen, I mean, they blew you guys out. They blew us out even more.
Yeah.
So I think it was definitely the Ravens in this game versus the Texans. And I also just think, I mean, if you look at that Texans roster, it's all right. But the offensive line, I mean, they were banged up. Their receivers, they have Nico Collins, but I mean, their receivers are banged up. Their offensive line isn't great. I just didn't see a lot of ways the Texans were even going to win that game. And again, hopefully, I really hope the Ravens do not win this one, because I really feel like this is the 49ers' last year to make something happen. So
I agree with you, man. Absolutely, man.
So let's see here. Esal says this will be a dogfight with the 49ers. Yes, we will get into it. Ravens are 6-1 against the Lions all time. So not that they are better than Detroit always. Not that they are better than Detroit always, just seem to have their darn number. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Ravens look dangerous. Hopefully the Chiefs can pull it out. Nobody wants to face them. Yeah. Lamar better hope he doesn't win the MVP. Only 2 MVPs have won the Super Bowl since 1999 or 2000s. Mahomes, Mahomes won it last year, and Warner.
Wow.
Yeah. I know that stat. I vaguely knew that stat. It is crazy how
I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't know the exact stat, but I did know that that usually the person to win the MVP at least in the latest year since I've followed the NFL has really never won the Super Bowl. So
wow, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah, that is. I guess some people might want that MVP for Lamar. Well, that's what we're wanting for sure. Carcass says Mike McDonald. There we go. That's who I was referring to, their defensive coordinator. Von D Gaming is in here.
One of my guys.
To have you.
Yes, sir.
Let's see here. We'll get to some more of the comments a little bit later, but let's keep it moving. Who's the easier matchup for the Lions if they were actually? We already covered that. Do you want to cover this?
I can just be brief, man. I think it's got to be the Chiefs because we beat them before. Obviously, they were down Kelsey and Chris Jones, but I think we've played either one of these teams before, and I think that the Chiefs are the better matchup because they got guys who kind of don't want to catch the ball at times. So I'm gonna pick the Chiefs all day.
Yeah, me too. I definitely think especially the way that we obviously struggled against the Ravens last time, and the way I feel like, yes, the Chiefs don't have the most elite wide receivers, which maybe they kind of squashed that narrative against the Bills a little bit more. But at the same time, it's like, I know that Patrick Mahomes is hard to play, but I just feel like the Ravens, the threat of just the run and then how they can pass the ball as well is just going to be super hard for the Niners to stop. And Lamar is a really mobile quarterback. And in the past, really mobile quarterbacks like him, it's been hard to contain people like that. So, but let's get to the main part of the show. Lions' weaknesses and strengths that you can think of going into this Niners game. And then I'll name out some of the Niners. Lions' weaknesses and strengths, and then I'll name out some of the Niners' weaknesses and strengths.
Okay, weaknesses is our pass rush. I think it's a little better, but I think our number one weakness is our secondary. That is a problem. Like, that's been a problem all year. First, it was kind of the pass rush, and then the secondary got worse. Now it is 100% secondary. Aiden has come alive the past couple of games. I think he had 7 sacks going into yesterday's game in 3 games. And the dude had almost that the entire season leading up to that. So the strengths is our run defense and the fact that our run game is pretty solid. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute beast. Him and David Montgomery. So you got the tag team duo. And I think, honestly, Goff's ability to spread the ball around. If he can stay upright, he was sacked twice, I believe, yesterday. If he can stay upright, keep his composure, we get that run game going, then we have a really good chance, like a great chance being it. And I don't know if I would have said that last year because your team was the team I didn't want to face. They were like the Ravens. Like, I just did not. The defense was just flying everywhere. But you guys lost the dude, right? Tufunga, I think he's out, right?
Yeah, Hufanga.
Okay, Hufanga. What's his first name?
Talanoa Hufanga. I'll cover because that was going to be one of my weaknesses.
I got you. Okay, so we on the same wavelength. Yeah, because you guys have lost him, and like, so I'm like, I think y'all vulnerable more than you've been in a long time, and so I see if the Lions can get to Brock Purdy, we can contain McCaffrey, and we have Jared Goff has been having the days he's been having. We have a really good chance to win this game. And I look at it like this, man. We started on the road. We did something nobody thought we were going to do. And yes, they were down. We already know, we know what the narrative, the asterisk is. But we have a legit chance to finish how we started, which is to go into your place and upset a team we're supposed to be beat by. Like, we genuinely have no chance, just like with the Chiefs. I think people respect us a little bit more now. But so I think weaknesses, secondary, and getting to Purdy, and obviously the strength is our offensive line and Jarrett's ability to spread the ball around in the run game as well. We can do that, man. We got a really good chance to win this game.
Yeah, and so this was before I get into some of the Niners' weaknesses. Are you concerned? You were talking the last sentence you said, Jared Goff. I want to stick on him. Are you concerned about his history against the Niners? Do you think with the loss of Ragnow, maybe we get a little bit more pressure up the middle with Hargrave? Although Hargrave was not very effective in that Packers game, and so I'm a little bit like, maybe we don't get that pressure, and Jared Goff is able to dice us up.
Okay, well, what is his history against the Niners?
Well, he is, I believe, I don't know I'd have to look up the exact numbers, but I think he's like 3-7 versus them.
Wow.
I believe.
Okay.
When we were in the Rams, I mean, the history with us in the Rams, we've beaten them, 9 out of the last 10 times or something like that. So,
okay. Well, Ragnow is in. He's hurt, but he's going to play. We don't have Jonah Jackson. He's out. So,
okay.
He's a big piece as well, though. So that's going to be an issue there. Worried about his history. I'm going to say no. And I'm going to tell you why, man. This is a different Jared Goff. This Goff literally has been like, it's kind of like the Matrix. This dude was in the Matrix, and now he was born out of the Matrix. When he came to Detroit, man, he was reborn. Like that first year was him being pulled out of the Matrix, seeing what the world is like. It was miserable. Then he starts to get used to it, and now he's plugged back into the Matrix, and he's Neo at this point. So I think that he's going to be playing with the most confidence he's had in a long time, bro. Probably since the Super Bowl in 2018. Like, McVay let him down. His confidence was shook. We had to rebuild it, and he has earned his spot in this team. And you know what, bro? I think the thing that kind of takes it over the edge is hearing how much the fan base loved him when Stafford came to town. Jared Goff, we never did that for Matthew Stafford ever, right? So, and we did it again yesterday. So Goff knows that his place is here, and I think he leads the team, man. And I think that his history with you guys it's not going to matter to him. He's going to go in and play like he always plays.
Well, you're speaking of, I mean, I don't even know if he's going to have to do much in this game for them to beat us. I mean, I'm being very, pessimistic, I guess, against the 49ers. But I'm going to say, I mean, with Jahmyr Gibbs, like, how did the Packers, they started off really fast this last game with running it, doing outside runs, zone runs with
Jones?
With Jones, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I forgot his name. With Jones, Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And that's how they established it. Now, later in that game, they kind of reverted to the pass game a little bit more, which I did not get at all. I think the Niners did a better job in the second half. That was one big adjustment. They did a better job in the second half of stopping the run, except from that really big, like 53-yard run towards the end of that game. But I think if you can start, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, the explosiveness, I'm really, really, really not looking forward to facing him, because we saw what Aaron Jones could do against this team.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get even more of an explosive back, two of them. I mean, more of a power back, I guess, in David Montgomery.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, I mean, really I'm kind of worried about your receivers, but not super, because I think, Amon-Ra St. Brown, correct me if I'm wrong, he plays both slot and outside, but a lot of it is in the slot. I trust Lenore.
Okay.
I trust Amador Lenore, our slot cornerback. Huge hitter, never seems to give up a big play. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think a lot of the chat can agree with me. I never see him miss an assignment.
Okay.
The big weakness on our defense is, you were touching on Talanoa Hufanga, getting injured earlier this year. We at first started Jair Brown, then we picked up a guy. His name is Logan Ryan. He used to play for the Bucs. veteran guy. Started him last game, and I mean, there were like 7 or 8 assignments that he missed. You go down to the last, I covered this on my channel live a few days ago. Logan Ryan, the last touchdown that the Packers scored, he missed 2 assignments back to back. One was the over the middle. I think it was the 15-yard crosser to Romeo Doubs that almost went to a touchdown, and he didn't pick up Romeo Doubs, and then it could have been a pick, but Romeo Doubs, he caught it. I think it was down to the Niners 4-yard line, and Logan Ryan, it could have been a pick, but he didn't get to the ball early enough because he didn't realize that they were going to him. And then the very next play, they go to their tight end, Kraft, and he was one-on-one with Kraft, and Kraft just completely dusts him in the red zone. So he's a huge – Logan Ryan, if we start him again, he is going to be a huge, huge, huge part that you can exploit with Sam Laporta, which he is playing in this game, correct?
Yes. Yeah. He is 3 weeks off the injury.
Yeah. So that's going to be a huge guy. Now, I don't know, because the reason why we started him is not necessarily because he was doing better, but he is a veteran, and Jair Brown is our third round rookie out of Penn State. I would feel a lot safer with us if we started Jair Brown, who's a lot more of a playmaker, but even him, he's a rookie. And so that safety position is going to be a little bit easier to exploit than it was earlier in the year. And then another defensive kind of flaw with us is Ambry Thomas. And I'm sure you probably watched that Packers game. Number 20, Ambry Thomas. He's not a terrible, like, he doesn't get beat a ton, but he holds a lot. And the Packers went away from him, kind of didn't target him as much later in that game. But I mean, I would be shocked if you guys do not target him relentlessly, because a lot of times you just throw it up on a seam route to your receiver and he doesn't turn his head around a lot. And he gets called for a hold a lot. And there were a lot of times in that game, in crucial times, that he got called for a hold. So Ambry Thomas, big weakness. And then offensively, I think if Deebo Samuel, he's 50-50 to play.
Yeah.
I think because he's 50-50 now, I do think he is going to play, but I think he's going to be on a snap count, just because I think his injury is kind of severe, because I feel like if his injury was a little bit less than, like, if his injury was minor, I feel like he would have come back in that game, and he didn't. So that means it was a little bit more major. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
You know what? I didn't even think about that, man, because at this point you're playing like you win or go home. So you would thought that if he wanted, he was going to come back in. So maybe it's one of them things where Laporta was out and he was done for the game and then was able to play the next week. So, but he wasn't 100%, but he was enough to catch a touchdown. So
so maybe it was that. The thing with him, though, if he is on a snap count, a big part of why our offense is so good with him is because before the snap, he is our main threat before the snap. You don't know what he's going to do. The linebackers are always distracted by him, and then we go to McCaffrey or one of our other weapons. If he is not playing that whole entire game, we lose a lot of our threat before the snap. The pre-snap motion becomes a lot less, and our offense becomes a lot more one-dimensional. The other, this is long-winded, but the one other point that I have is, like I said, Aiden Hutchinson versus Colton McKivitz. Every Niners fan knows it. I don't know how we're going to game plan around him. I think we're going to do a lot of shotgun, not as much play action, which is going to make our offense a lot more one-dimensional as well. And so that's kind of the weaknesses. I can't think of any more, but that's 3 or 4 that you guys could easily exploit. So.
Well, what I'm a bit curious about is the 2 number 97s, right? We got Hutch, we got Bosa, and Penei Sewell's first game was against Nick Bosa, and he did pretty well. I remember Nick giving him a compliment, was like, this guy's going to be good. And it was his very first NFL game was against Nick Bosa. So that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Can Jared Goff, I'm a bit curious to know I think it's going to be where, Ben, is a lot of quick passes from Detroit. I think it's going to be Goff is going to real quick to St. Brown if he's gone, Laporta. But my question to you is, if we get Jameson Williams going, how's your safety and secondary? Because if can somebody cover J-Mo deep if we were to go deep to him?
Okay. Well, if St. Brown was in the slot, I'm
Yeah.
assuming it would probably be Ward who's on him, and he's pretty good. But the thing with Ward is like I feel like if correct me if I'm wrong, but Jamison Williams is a little bit more of a speed receiver, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a problem because Ward, the best receivers that he does good on are AJ Brown and DK Metcalf, more of the bigger physical receivers.
Yeah.
Speed, I feel like we're gonna have to do a lot of zone, and that's I feel like a problem. I think it's going to be a big day for Jared Goff if you can keep him protected. Now, my question to you is: so Ragnow is a right tackle, correct?
Ragnow is the center. He's the
Center.
center.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's your guys' right tackle again?
It's either the right tackle is either Taylor Deckard or Panay Sewell, depending on what side they put him on. I think the right is Panay. If I'm not
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Taylor Decker is the left. That's right. Panay is the right.
That is interesting because Nick Bosa rushes a lot from the right side. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I forgot that Panay Sewell played the right. I mean, the left side of our defensive line is also a weakness as well.
Really? Okay, who's over there?
Chase Young is okay, but I don't know. He's not like the dominant pass rusher that when we brought him in, I thought this was going to be an absolute.
How many sacks does he have so far? You know, off the top of your head?
I think it's 8 or 9, but
how many did he get? So that means he only got maybe 3 with you guys. 2 or I know he got some early. He's a guy that I wouldn't have mind on this team for what you paid for him. I would not have mind.
He's a physical guy, so he's decent in the run game. But go ahead.
No, because so his matchup is going to be if he's going to be up against Taylor Decker, and that does worry me a bit because Taylor is a warrior, but he has been false starting. He has definitely lost a step. And I mean, obviously, when you've been in the league since 2016, you're going to lose a step. But that right there is something to watch. I think obviously Bosa and Panay going to be going at it. And but I think that Chase Young, Taylor Decker, that might be a thing to watch, man. It really might. So I think the Lions, how's the inside of that defensive line, man? Those DTs, how are they?
Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave, I think they're some of the best in the league. The only thing is their run game. The run game inside has been a little bit, especially last game. Well, last game it actually was pretty good, I'd say. But the run game inside, especially running it towards Javon Hargrave, is going to be something that I think you guys will do a lot because Javon Hargrave is never – he's a good pass rush. Pass rush-wise, I think we have a step on you guys. But Javon Hargrave – when you run towards him, he's a smaller guy, smaller defensive tackle. He's not great at stopping the run. So I expect Montgomery to definitely get some yards there because he's a physical back. As far as pass rush goes, getting, especially since you said the center is out, getting pressure from the inside.
Frank Ragnow is in. He's playing.
Okay, sorry.
It
I'm
is
all over the place
Jonah
right now.
Jackson, who is the left guard, I believe he is. I think Graham Glasgow is the right guard. So Jonah Jackson. Now I'm gonna tell you what, that guy there, whoever replaces him, that's gonna be an issue. I expect that we're gonna lean very heavily on Montgomery and Gibbs. We really are. And then every so often, we're going to hit you with a pass. I think that's because we didn't really lean on them during this Bucs game because we had all our guys. Our offensive lineman, when healthy, is one of the best in the National Football League. Even though Jonah Jackson isn't great, he's better than what is after him. And that is going to be an issue. So I expect a lot of delays. They like to run delays with Jahmyr Gibbs, especially. And if he can break one man to get past that second line, he get tripped up a lot by the linebackers. But if I think that's how we're going to have to attack you guys, man, with our offensive line, because this team together, when those 5 guys are together, they play really, really well. It's when that one link, it's almost like, you got that one link, man, that's weak, and then the whole thing crumbles. So I think to counteract that, we're going to run a lot of draws and delays and some screen passes and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle, man.
Yeah, I agree. We could spend a lot more time on this topic, but I'm going to get to a few of the comments because I definitely am backed up. So Guys, I apologize if I don't get all of your guys' comments, but I will try to get quite a few of them. John Doe says you go to the Super Bowl straight. You go to the Super Bowl straight to it. This was quite a long time ago, so I'm not sure what he was talking about. Nathaniel Arias says Goff is 3-6 all time against the Niners. Okay, I thought it was 3-6 or 3-7, so he definitely clears that up. Josh in his bag says, "Yo."
That's one of my guys.
So thank you for joining, guys. This has been a great show as far as listener wise. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We've got both sides, Niners sides. We've got Lions side. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Grandizer, I want to pull up this comment real quick because game day weather forecast 68, partly cloudy, winds at 4 miles per hour. That's good as far as it doesn't rain, because I will tell you, I don't know if you noticed this, but Brock Purdy in the rain, he has those small hands. I mean, man, you watch that game, the overthrows. I mean, it was.
Yeah, he was looking bad, and I saw him in the middle of a play. He took his hand off the ball, wiped it on his pants.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, yeah. So I'm just glad it's not going to be raining, bro. Because I wouldn't be there. Like, it would be hard for me to be and sit in the rain and all that stuff. And I saw that rain coming down. I'm like, thank goodness we didn't have to play in that. So our team is not a outside team as well, bro. We can play in the snow, but the rain and all that, man, it was raining in Chicago, and it was a nasty, nasty showing. So I'm glad it's going to be clear skies. Hopefully, maybe a few showers at worst case scenario. But yeah, that would scare me a lot. When the Packers gave it up, I was like, oh man, now we don't have the comfort of our, air conditioned dome. So yeah, it's going to be tough. But I think if it stays like it was at KC, beautiful, man, then I think we have a really good chance to win this game. I actually think we're going to win, but that's
we'll get to the game in just a second. I will say before we move on, it was funny because we kind of got lucky because in the second half it wasn't raining a ton.
Yeah.
And then the last drive that the Packers had with 1 minute 10, it just started pouring. So God must have been on our side or something, because I'm serious. It was a noticeable difference that last drive for the Packers. So thank God. Tommy Huxley, Jared, he's always a kind of
I see what okay. He's a Niners.
Who scored 3 points.
He's a Niners fan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Let's see here. Von D Gaming, Goff gonna come in surgical. Yeah, I believe so.
He's always
the Niners. I think with the speed of Jamison Williams, I think we're gonna be playing. We usually like to play man to man, but if Jamison Williams' speed really does affect us, it's gonna be, I feel like, a lot more zone, and then maybe it's gonna be a lot more of those short passes from Jared Goff.
The thing about Jamison Williams, though, is a lot of his routes that I've noticed, because they like to go deep a ton, his speed is enough to they take time to develop, but because Jamison Williams is faster than most, it's not as much time. So the quicker you can get the Goff, the quicker you take out J-Mo and the deep passes. But he can catch one in the slot, in the slant man, and be gone as well. So it's just a matter of how they game plan against this 49ers pass rush to try to, get some big plays.
Tommy Huxley, I don't agree with you there. I think that Goff, the veteran, I think will be one day, but Goff wouldn't have made that throw across his body into triple coverage at the end of that game. The veteran.
I don't know what that was. He was like,
he was like, man.
Yeah, like he did and they compared the far throw when he was in Minnesota. Yeah, to that. I was like, ooh, so yeah, that was a tough throw.
Yeah. Brock threw 2 that should have been picked. Oh yeah, both of them should have been pick 6s. Let's see. Goff hasn't thrown any picks.
That's what I'm kind of wondering, man. Which Brock are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the MVP? They're screaming MVP Brock, or kind of that in between? You know what I mean? Where you just like, ooh, where he looks like a 7th round pick. Like, which one are we gonna get?
If it's raining, probably the 7th round pick, Brock. If Debo's playing, maybe the MVP, Brock, and it's not raining.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It's like we just need to make it through one more game because if I'm not mistaken, the Vegas Super Bowl is in a dome. So
yeah, yep, Allegiant, yep.
That's a cool stat. Goff hasn't thrown any picks this postseason.
He got away with one on Sunday. Yesterday, it was a dude right in the end zone and just hit him in both his hands and he dropped it. So very fortunate situation, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
Better the Hunt. Good to see you. Never seen you before, so welcome in. When you play for the guy next to you, hard to beat that. Lions fan since 62. Destiny team, go Detroit. Derrick knows Detroit. Yeah, I mean, I texted him. I was like, I can't think of anyone better to bring on than this guy right here. So appreciate it once again. Carcast. Well, Vondi Gaming, sudden been getting abused. So we'll see.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. So I believe Carcast 49ers Talks. Shout out to him. Go subscribe to his channel. So I believe the Zach Ertz signing was to fill up the hole with Brock Wright going down with back-to-back injuries. I did see that. You guys did sign him.
Yeah, we signed him because we lost Brock Wright and we only had our we only got Laporta, who is nagging. You know, the injury is nagging. Mm-hmm. And then you have Anthony Fursker, who is a practice squad tight end. So I thought we were going to do this after that initial, Laporta got injured initially, but he came back. He came, he was playing more, but now we're down to like a practice squad tight end, and our tight ends coach was Arizona's tight end coach. So some history there. And I'm glad we did it, man, because we need all the help we can get if we're going to go on this run. He hasn't played since like week 7. So, how good is he going to be? I don't know, but he might get a 4-yard pass or something like that.
Yeah. Interesting. Let's see here. I'm just trying to think of any. Armstead stuffs the run. Yeah, he's a good guy. And then we also have Javon Kinlaw, who's not so much of a pass rusher, but he is a pretty good run. He's just a powerful force inside. That's like just you can't really move him off the block. So I wouldn't say our run game is definitely a weakness if you're especially up the middle. If you're gonna, and I mean, one key guy that we got injured. I don't know if you really know who he is, but number 94 for us, and I could look up his name real quick. His name is, let's see here. I can't remember. Hold on.
Roy to UK. They some good dudes, man. Yeah, he probably just forgot about them because they're the time difference.
Yeah,
those are some good guys.
Let's see here. I believe it's I can't remember who 94 is.
Tommy should know. He got all these stats on Jared Goff.
Remind me again. I'm going blank my brain again, but remind me who I'm talking about.
Yeah, you were talking about
Willie C. I'm a Lions fan and all but Purdy been killing it all season. We got to settle down on that one. Okay. Let's see here. I'm thinking about moving on. I think I've gotten most of the comments that I can. Let's see here. Cleveland Farrell. There we go. Cleveland Farrell. Number 94. He was an edge rusher, but also very good in the run game. He was probably our best defensive end run stopper that we had. And he definitely was we lost him, I believe, to an ACL. So he's going to be key. He's not in this game. It's kind of key. So let's see here. So final score prediction. You said it earlier. What's your kind of score prediction in this game? I'm going to wait till I hear yours.
Yeah, I don't do score predictions, but I'll do them for you.
Okay. So, who's going to win?
Because, so I think that the Lions are going to give up a bunch of points because that's what they do. So I'm going to say, I don't know, man. This isn't even me being biased. I just think that if we can keep Jared, all the strengths, like if we can play to those strengths, I think we can win. I know that home field advantage is going to be tough, but we've dealt with Arrowhead, and Arrowhead was a tough place, man. I was there outside, and I still should have brought earplugs, but thankfully I got some for I'm telling you, man, it was, and I was up top, and it was super loud from the top, and it's no
Dang.
dome. So, and I've seen you guys, it's crazy in Levi Stadium. So I'm gonna say Lions. I don't know, man, because I don't really watch your team, so I don't really know about the defense. So I'll just say, I don't know, 24-21 Lions. I don't know, man. I think score predictions are, it's like, they're just like, blah, they don't mean anything. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say 24-21 Lions. And we get to our first ever Super Bowl.
I'm going to say, if so, I didn't really run through the strengths. I'm not going to do that, but I will say that I think the 49ers are going to bring a lot more blitz. If they do end up starting Jair Brown, he's a lot more of a playmaker than what Logan Ryan is, or whatever his name is, our safety. And so I honestly want to blot him out of my mind because he was so bad last game. If it's not raining, assuming that Deebo Samuel plays, and I think he will, I know this is kind of because it's my team. It's going to seem
all right. It's all right. It happens. People do it all the time.
It's going to seem a little biased, but I think the reason why our offense was a little bit one-dimensional last game was mainly the fact of, I think that, of the rain. So, yes, the Lions are going to be able to run the ball, but I also think that assuming that it's not raining, we're going to see a lot more of the elite offense that the 49ers offense we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And the only problem that our offense, except from last game, although last game we still scored 24, except from last game, the only defense that has really given us a problem this year is the Ravens defense. And no offense, but you guys are nowhere near there.
No, that's none taken. I would have been offended if you said we were the Ravens defense, because we are so not. And that's what I'm nervous for too.
Yeah, and so because of that, and really if you count in, like, if our special teams can maybe not stop the Lions stop the Lions from making huge punt returns, because a big reason why the Packers even scored that second touchdown in this game was because they had a huge punt return that went all the way down to the Niners.
You're missing our punt returner. That I hope he's been out for 2. He has not played in the playoffs. We need Khalif Raymond. I hope that he can play, because we need. I'm hoping Dan was like, you know what, we gonna save you. If we survive this game, you can come back against who we play next, because our punt return sucks with him not out there. It really does.
Okay.
So I forgot about him.
Well, yeah, and I mean the Green Bay Packers, I believe it was a kick return, and they have one of the best kick returners in the league, the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. So if the 49ers defense last game was pretty good, it wasn't terrible. I mean, there were times when it wasn't that great, but we made good second half adjustments. I believe they only scored 7 points in the second half. So without further ado, I do think it's going to be very high scoring. I think it's going to be 30-28. Niners get this win. And Jake Moody, he's not a great, you've probably seen a lot of Niners fans complain about him, but if he can somehow maybe, pull it out of the hat and he made a 52-yarder, I believe it was last game, or 48. He's going to have to do something in this game. And I'm going to, high scoring, but I'm going to say 30-28 Niners win. And I could see us being down in the first half. I really could, because we are not a very good, we start slow. So,
you know what? It doesn't matter, man, because it's when the game is over. You know what I'm saying? So as a Lions fan, I'm going to be like, because we were losing 14-7 to Kansas City at halftime. And I remember just like, can we do this? And then the pick six from Brian Branch so we wind up scoring 14 points, and the Kansas City Chiefs only scored 6. But then again, everyone was dropping everything. It was a lot going on with that game. And I think that it's going to be tough, Ben. I really do. We got George Kittle to worry about. One thing I can say is that this team we have gone up against the challenge, and I think that we just let the Ravens. It was like, what is happening? It was like we didn't even get off the bus. But outside of that, this team is, and I know they're going to give it all they have. And I think that if we can get to Brock Purdy and protect Jared Goff, I think we can win this game. Because Debo, I don't know, man. I feel like if we hit him good, he might be like, he might not be able to go. And then
I want to see the Niners scheme open Ayuk more. That was one thing we could have done more.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Do you have anything else?
He's trouble. Yeah. Brandon Ayuk is trouble. And we have trouble against receivers. Like it's going to be, I expect Ayuk or Kittle to have a big day. I think the wild card in this game for me is Christian McCaffrey, because we have not played against him in a long time. When we played the Panthers last year, he was already traded and we got, it was a different team, but they ran for 200 and some yards against us. So that guy right there, the Lions are good against the run, and they face some quality running backs. But I think Christian McCaffrey, man, is like a whole nother level. I saw him getting a little work done on his leg, though. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. We'll see if
he's had a problem with that calf. He was dealing with it.
So we'll see, man. And I'm gonna be real. I don't care if they want to put an asterisk by it. If somebody goes down, I'm gonna take a trip to the Super Bowl because we've never been. So it doesn't matter, man, how we get it done. But I want to see a Lions. It's a lot riding on this, man. I was telling you before we went live that our team has never been, and I'm talking to Niners fans who seem like a lot of them don't even care. Like, we do this. We got Joe Montana. We got rings. We hear all the time. We ain't missing nothing. And for Lions fans, man, flights are selling out from Detroit and everything, man. So our fan base is the most excited it's been in probably 50 years, like real talk. So I just hope, man.
Okay. Maybe the old heads, but for me, I mean, I've watched us lose in 2 Super Bowls. And the funny thing is if we win and the Chiefs or Ravens, I mean, both of them are a Super Bowl rematch.
That's true. That's right. Yeah.
Which is kind of, so us to get that vengeance would be really cool. And I'm a Michigan Wolverines fan because I followed Jim Harbaugh there
that's right.
when he left the Niners. And so if the Niners can win and the Wolverines in the same year, this will be the greatest year for me.
And we feel like that with Detroit, man. Like if Detroit, like it's always like the greatest year for Michigan sports of all time, man. So, I hope we can get one because you guys have been before, you know what I mean? It's like, we just, cause bro, us going would be a huge deal. Of course we want to win, but us going is like, okay, that's one monkey off our back. And I would be devastated to lose Sunday or at the Super Bowl, but getting there would be 2 check marks. Then it'd just be 3 teams that's never been: the Browns, Jags, and Texans. And then we cross us off that list. So we'll see, man. It's going to be a good game. We'll know who we're playing by the time that game kicks off, I believe, because I think the early game is like at 12 or something. I think.
Oh, right. Well, actually, yeah, you're right. It's at 1, and I think ours is at like 4:30, something like that.
Yep. And so for us on the East Coast, it's 6:30, so it'll be 3. Yeah. So yeah, man, we'll know who's going to the Super Bowl, and it's either going to be one of these 4 teams, man. So yeah, I'm excited.
SF looked. I'll real quickly get to your guys' comments once again. I apologize if I don't get them all. Trying to keep this show no less than an hour. SF looked no better than Chicago last weekend, fam. The window closed when Jimmy overthrew Sanders. Okay. Yeah. The score ain't hard to do. Derrick, no one going to come for you if you get it wrong. I
just don't like it. I think it's completely pointless. Like, hey, so that's just my thing, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I projected the Niners to beat the Packers 38-17, and wow, was I wrong. So, Long John Podcast. That is my brother. Shout out to you, Joseph. Thanks for coming in. Josh Jackson. I respect the 49ers. I think it'll be a tough game, but nothing he's meaning the Lions, can't handle. We're the last team they wanted to face right now. Oh, yeah. Definitely, for sure. I mean, the only other team that I wanted to face less was the Rams because they know us very well and they've beaten us in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
So the Rams, but you were definitely a close second, close first too. Tyler Tommy Huxley coming in with the spice right here. You lost to the Cowgirls. That game was super controversial.
Yeah. I've talked about that enough. I'm not talking about that anymore.
Yeah. Green Bay was moving pretty well in the rain, though, second half. They were. I will agree with that. I think Jordan Love was definitely a lot more equipped for it. And that's why I'm like, Brock Purdy, MVP numbers, but especially after this game, he's a good quarterback, but I don't know if he's top 10. That's a stretch to say he's top 10.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't even really top 10, and I think Purdy and Kirk Cousins, I think right now, as far as it goes right now, are about the same level. Now, Purdy could get better. Well, will get better, but Armenian Man 2.0, I think it's about which defense gets the most stops. That's very true. True. Force McCaffrey up the middle. Okay. Lions won a championship in 1957, says David McNiner.
Yes, which is that was pre-Super Bowl, so that was like before the NFL was the NFL. Now, it was something different back then.
It'll be a great game. Lions versus 49ers for sure. Benjamin, at least you've seen the 49ers get to the Super Bowl. Lions have never even been. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about your feelings, man.
Yeah. Hey, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, but because we both got a job to do. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, that's why I want to win, because it is a way bigger deal, Ben, for us than it is you. But my team has to earn it. They have to earn it. They got to beat one of the. I mean, you guys are the first seed, even though we got the same record. But how this team is a team that's dominated for the past 5 years. So what better way to get to the Super Bowl than to go through the first seed? And I mean, us beating the Packers would have been a whole different thing. And a lot of Detroit Lions fans were nervous for the Packers. I'm like, say what? But anyway, I think it all shapes up. Start the season against the defending Super Bowl champions, and end the season perhaps against one of the best 4 teams in the NFL. So, you couldn't write it any better than this, man. I'm excited, and Sunday will be here before you know it.
Yeah. Bucky McBadbat says, if Goff can hit outside the numbers, I'm confident the middle of the field is as good as gone. I agree with him. I will say, before we move on to the last topic, I will say time for Ben Johnson to open up that playbook. That's Von D Gaming. I agree with you there. I think he is one of the best offensive coordinators in the league, and he's going to be, one of the best we've ever faced this season. Because I think back at the Niners had beaten hard teams, but the hard teams at the time that we beat were the Eagles. We know how bad they are. The Cowboys, frauds. The Rams we beat, but they're just a young team. So
you should have beat them on that
week 2 too, and then the last week
you should have stopped them from going to the Super Bowl. You should have done that. I would have.
I was so mad. I remember going into my room for a straight hour and screaming into the phone at my brother, who was just listening to my complaints about Jimmy Garoppolo, who absolutely sucked. Jaquiski Tart, who dropped the interception.
Oh my God, that's the dude.
Yeah, that was the worst, man. I don't want to relive that. Let's move on.
I know.
So before we get out of here, and by the way, thank you for giving me an hour of your time. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Final score prediction for the Ravens versus Chiefs matchup. Again, you said you don't like scores, so you can just give us a winner. I'll start first on this one.
Okay.
I think the Ravens, this is a no-brainer. I know the Chiefs are good, but I just think that it is the Ravens, not their year per se, because I really want the Niners to win, and I'm biased on that one. But I just, if the Ravens can, it's in Baltimore, and I know that the Chiefs have proven that they can win on the road like they did in Buffalo, but the Ravens have levels better defense than the Buffalo Bills do. Their offense is really hard to stop. I know that the Chiefs' run game, their defense is actually really good, and I think if it's the one team that can match up with the Ravens, the Chiefs can do it. But then you also think about the defensive side of the ball, and will the Chiefs be able to get anything done? I'm going to say the Ravens here win this one. I think this is actually going to be a lot more low scoring than the 49ers versus Lions game. I'm going to say 21-17, Ravens get it.
Okay, I'm going to say that the Chiefs are going to win this game. And I'm going to say that because if they I know they're going to be playing M&T Bank Stadium. I know I don't know what the weather's going to be, but the Chiefs to me are like, they're the team that you have to beat. And the Buffalo Bills were hot, and their kicker missed the field goal, but that's what happens. And Lamar Jackson is good for an interception or two. So I think it's going to be a good game. And I think very similar to how the Lions need to overcome the 49ers and their history and how good of a team you guys have been for the past half a decade. I think that the Baltimore Ravens have to do the same thing. They okay,
right.
you've been dominating all year. You get the first seed, and look at what happened to the second seed. Both second seeds got bumped out, and they got beat by a lower seed, right? So I think the Baltimore Ravens are the new kids on the block, and Lamar Jackson just got a second playoff win. So I think they're the ones with something to prove. I'm going to say the Chiefs win this game because Patrick Mahomes is a
more
dude.
Clutch.
Yeah, he is. And I was about to say, this dude done lost a step, man, but then that Patrick Mahomes magic kicks back in. And Lamar is a specimen, as much as that pains me to say. But I think the experience, man, is going to come to Patrick Mahomes. I think the Chiefs get it done, and it's going to be Chiefs. And if I have it my way, Lions. And what a way to end the season the same way it started. How crazy. 272 games, and it will end and start the same way.
That is true. That is true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Well, and I will say, you're right about the Lamar Jackson thing. And if you're coming down to the most important moments, Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes isn't going to make a mistake. I trust that. Even, he's just such a good quarterback. He's not going to make a mistake down the stretch. So maybe you have a point there. Let's see here. I wanted to see if there was any other comments that I should read. Lamar might make a statement. I did want to actually quickly answer this. Nathaniel Arias says 44 and raining on Sunday at Baltimore.
Oof.
Who do you think this affects more?
Man,
just fumbling issues for the Ravens in the run game, potentially. I don't know.
It was raining it was a nasty game against the Steelers, right? I think it was, no, who was it? It was rain. They played the Rams in some mist or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
yes. That's a great question, man. Both teams are outdoors. Both teams deal with adverse weather. I don't know, man. That's a good question. I can't even answer it. I don't know.
I think it's going to affect both. It definitely rains more, and it's really cold in Arrowhead, but it rains more in Baltimore, I think. So
okay,
maybe Baltimore. Anyways, guys, this has been a great show. Clap it up for Lion Syndicate, Derrick from Lion Syndicate.
Thank you.
We were a little bit late due to me, so I apologize for that one. But we're here, and we are ending this show. If you guys want to go follow him on X or YouTube, links in the description. Anything else that you would want to promote?
No, man, just to say, man, a pleasure as always. I think you got a lot of talent, and, it's good to see you. I know you transitioned to Niners mostly, and hopefully that helps the channel out. And we'll see, man. Whatever happens, it was a great season, and I don't want it to end here. So we'll see how it goes, man. But I'm glad I was the Lions guy you talked to before a potential Super Bowl berth for one of our teams will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, and that's a good year. But we'll see what happens Sunday.
That is. Well, guys, have a good rest of your day. I'll maybe be back later in the week to maybe break down the Chiefs and Ravens matchup. We'll see how it goes. Look for this show in clips as the week goes on. And then I'll definitely be adding show, notes or tags after this is over. So if you just are watching this afterwards, go down to the description and you should find, different points of where different topics of the show, and I can list those all in the description. So before we get out of here, one more thing I want to mention. If you guys are thinking of getting into content creating and going live, go to StreamYard. Link in the description. If you click my link, $10 off of your first purchase, and it's super easy to use for beginners. I started off with it, and it's super simple. So if you guys are thinking of doing streams like this, go and check that out. Guys, have a good rest of your night. We almost had 30 people in here at one point, which for me, I'm sure for you, that's nothing, but for me, that's great. So everyone, thanks for coming out and supporting. Once again, go and subscribe to Lion Syndicate and we'll see you guys later. Have a good night, everyone.